Are you ready to invest in yourself today? Welcome to the WealthBuilders Podcast, where investment leader Billy Epperhart teaches you how to build wealth through applied biblical wisdom. Scripture says in Deuteronomy 8:18, "Remember the Lord, your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth." At WealthBuilders, our goal is to teach you how to build wealth through applied biblical wisdom in your finances, your business, and your investments.
Hello and welcome to this week's WealthBuilders Podcast. I'm Conrad, and I'm so glad that you joined us today. I've got a fun topic for you today, and it's something that if you're in business, ministry, real estate, anything that involves advertising or social media, this is going to really help you. It's going to be talking about an introduction to what we call marketing funnels. And one of the things that I've learned working with organizations and even with my own things and at Wealth Builders, we have to constantly analyze, why are we putting this post out there? Why are we boosting this? What's the purpose of this ad? And I learned a long time ago that to have effective marketing, you have to understand where your target is and your desired result. And then from there, build that funnel up, which I'll be going through the steps. And then you learn what your lead generators are, but you create that path that brings them to the desired result. And in doing this, it's going to help you to maximize the money that you are spending on ads. You're going to feel like you're a much better steward. But then also you're going to see results from that marketing that's going to help you move forward and meet a lot of your goals and objectives. So basically what I'm sharing with you today is going to be the basis for your marketing plan. You can have a marketing plan that's for an entire organization, or a lot of times we'll do marketing plans that's for a specific project. And this will help you to hit the target for your business or ministry. So first of all, I'm going to describe for you what I call the conversion engine funnel template. So I've got this funnel that is drawn out, and I'll make sure that this is available on the Wealth Builders blog for you so that you can see the worksheet that I'm talking about. But it's got several areas. And so if you imagine that funnel, I'm going to start at the bottom. That's where you define the desired result. Then you move up to the next level where the funnel's opening up just a bit, and we define what we call the conversion engine. Then we move up to a conversion destination. Then we move up to the calls to action. And then finally, at the top of that funnel are your lead generators. So here's some items for you to keep in mind as we go through this today. This can be used from a macro perspective to a micro perspective. This includes all channels of marketing, not just digital. A matter of fact, this helps so much in bringing together the different parts of your marketing. It shows how your digital works with your publications, and if you have media, it coordinates all that for you. You'll be able to locate your revenue streams and categorize those by function. You'll take inventory of all the activities that you are reaching people today. And this is going to be an eye-opener for you, because a lot of times we don't know where everything is out there. We've got different people promoting in different areas. And then finally, we're going to define what the action items are for your customer or your target market to move to that ideal outcome. All right, we're going to go through this briefly. And as I mentioned, to learn more about this or to get a copy of this template that I'm describing, go to wealthbuilders.org and go to our blogs or sign up for our email list. So this will just show up in your email when we do the podcast with the supporting information every week. So number one, the desired result, and the location of this again is at the very bottom of that funnel. And this is where you start, because this is where you define what it is you want people to do when they respond to your communication. So, what is the ideal outcome that you have for your business? If you're a ministry, a lot of times it's partnership. If you are a real estate agent, it might be a client that signs up to list a home. So look at your BMGC revenue streams, and generally in that section that we talk about in the bottom right, you'll see layers in revenue streams, which you can build into the funnel. And so that's where you start. I've got another example for you too. If you're a fitness studio, the goal might be an annual membership. So you would put that down to the right. All right, let's go to the next step. As we move up the funnel, the next one is called the conversion engine. This one is something that a lot of people miss, and it's been so helpful when I work with organizations because we don't always define or understand where people have to go to actually make the decision for the desired outcome. So let me give you another example with this. If you're a ministry and your goal, your desired outcome is partnership, the question that you would ask is, where do people have to go to actually make a decision to become a partner? And that is what you would define as your conversion engine. Working with another organization, one of the things, it's a complicated sales process. It's not an easy like purchase of a product. It's actually a contract that has more of a long-term relationship with it. And when I asked him this question, we realized that nothing happens unless they get a consultation. That's their conversion engine. So what it helps with is their ideal outcome is to get a contract, but all of the marketing, the website, the emails, everything we do leads into a consultation because that is where the conversion starts. All right, the next one going up here is called your lead generators. So once you determine where that conversion engine takes place, like I described, like for the consultation, you go up to the top and you start to talk about in a document your lead generators. So let's talk about what lead generators are. Lead generators are all the ways that people hear about you and your organization currently, or areas that you need to add. So when looking at this same example that I was talking about with the consultation, one of the areas that we realized that we had to really start to do a great job with was LinkedIn. The reason for that is that this type of clientele is not out on Facebook and just looking for the type of service that he provides, but it's through a network with like-minded organizations where he knows they need his product. So one of the lead generators that we built in is posts that just give statements about the business, or maybe ask people questions about, are you having an issue here? Are you getting stuck with your FDA approval? That type of thing. And then we knew that that's where we wanted to focus. Another area with the lead generator was word of mouth. And so this particular situation, this person had a lot of relationships in the industry. So we created a lead generator to reach out to those people and let them know that he's available for consultations. He's, in business. Hey, check out my website. And we did that through a personal note that would go out to the people he was connected with. And his daughter was actually helping to send those out. And it's a lead generator that leads them to connect back with him and with the website, the things that we set up to ultimately move them into a consultation. So it really helps with this to know your customer segments, which we cover in depth in the BMGC, and target your lead generators to reach your target. Obviously, this can go into a lot of details. This is a very deep subject and has a lot of layers to it, but I'm going to keep moving along just to kind of give you an idea. And then if you want to go in deeper, You want to connect with Wealth Builders, Wealth Builders University, as I mentioned, the blogs. We do webinars. We've got different workshops and conferences where we go in much more detail on these. All right, the next one, and this is right underneath those lead generators, is your call to action. So your call to action helps your lead generators be purposeful. What action, as you build this out, are you calling them to? And keep in mind, you always have your eye on that desired result. Then next, you always are aware of where that actual conversion can take place. And then you start to make sure that your ads actually lead people to the next place that's going to help connect them to, in the example I've been using, that scheduled consultation. So once people respond, what do they receive? Define this, and what information do you need to have to move interested people to that next level? The question to ask too is, what do people see, and does it work properly? Here's an example. If you're offering a free download, which is a great way to connect with people, a social media post, you might want to have an invitation to describe. If you do that free download, what's the experience of somebody that actually takes advantage of that call to action? One thing we found out recently, even with our own organization, is that when people got to the cart, when they were responding to something that we are offering to help them go to a deeper level, the cart wasn't working correctly. So if they accidentally put in that they wanted 3 or 5, they couldn't change it back to 1. And so this is where, with the team, when you have these calls to action, like for example, that free download, or maybe a product that you're offering, you have to make sure that they function well, because that's the experience of your customer. So the call to action, where do you want them to go to get closer to the destination that you've called them to? Let me just give you some examples just to help you in your own business or organization to see what this might look like. If you're in a ministry, one of the things that we do is we encourage people to call in for prayer. That's awesome. That's fulfilling the ministry. It's also giving you an opportunity to communicate with the people that are blessed by your ministry. And in one of the ministries I work with, we recently put something in place that when they called in for prayer, that because we had some free resources available, we connected them to a free resource that we would mail out to them. And so when you take a look at something like that through this funnel, I'm going to walk you through the steps so far so you understand how these fit together. So with this ministry, the desired outcome is a partnership, okay? And the conversion engine is for them to become a partner. They either need to connect with us through a newsletter, by sending in a partnership, they need to call and set up a partnership, or they need to go to the website to sign up for partnership. So as we are going through these lead generators, hopping back up to the top, if they're watching a program, or maybe they were responding to a social media post, one of the calls to action we had was for prayer. And then when they received prayer, if they weren't already a partner or in that conversion engine space of being in our mailing list, we offer them the free resource that we mail out. And then guess what? We do then have their information, their mailing address. And what that allows us to do is to have two-way communication that goes to what we call the conversion destinations. So in that situation, they're on our mailing list, a newsletter goes out, and in that newsletter, there is a call to action or an invitation to partnership that they can respond to. Okay, do you see how this is layered? When you think about your organization, you're probably popping ideas as you're listening to this. You think about where you're driving them to so that they have the opportunity to have an invitation to partner or to your desired outcome. So the conversion destinations look like this. Where do your customers need to go to get to the conversion engine? So back to the example I was using with the client that has to have a scheduled consultation to move them into the desired outcome of a contract. We thought about the conversion destination. So if we have an email, if we have a post, we drive them to a particular place on the website that they can connect and they can ask for a consultation. That's called a conversion destination. So one of the things we do at Wealth Builders is we do real estate and business coaching. And many of you listening are probably part of that program, and we appreciate you so much. So we generally don't offer coaching unless someone has attended a workshop or they've connected with us at a deeper level. The reason for that is that's a big call to action and a big commitment. I know that I'm not going to put a social media post out there and invite someone to join coaching when it's a very, very expensive investment, not only in money and in time for people. They need to learn more about it. So we built this process to communicate so that people are in the best decision to make a decision. So that is called a conversion destination. So I know that I went through this really quickly. We have a limited time on the podcast. But if you grab hold of these keys, it is going to completely change the way that you market. And it's going to help you hit the mark just in these easy steps. So again, if you want to learn more about it, go to wealthbuilders.org, go to the blog, and we'll have this free download for you. And I just want to thank you so much for being part of the Wealth Builders family. Billy and Becky Lovin appreciate you immensely, and we're so glad that you tune in every week for the Wealth Builders Podcast. Thank you so much. God bless you, and make it a great day.
We hope you learned something of lasting value today from this Wealth Builders Podcast. If you'd like any tools, teachings, or resources mentioned in the podcast, you'll find them online at wealthbuilders.org. Wealth Builders exist to teach you how to build wealth through applied biblical wisdom in your finances, your business, and your investments. Wealth Builders is a nonprofit organization. We depend on your donations to keep this podcast running. Please consider donating to us on wealthbuilders.org.